Today I come to you with the most harrowing news. Australian citizen Dr Yang Hengjun has received a suspended death sentence.
Arrested in 2019 at Guangzhou Airport while visiting his family, Dr Yang Hengjun is accused by China of spying, a charge he has always denied.
The Australian government is appalled at this outcome. We will be communicating our response in the strongest terms.
An Australian academic, activist and writer of spy novels, Dr Yang blogged about Chinese affairs. Nicknamed the Democracy Peddler, he previously worked for the Chinese government before moving to Australia in 1999. Exactly who Dr Yang is accused of spying for has never been clear.
Australia will not relent in our advocacy for justice for Dr Yang's interests and well-being.
Since his imprisonment, Dr Yang's case has mainly unfolded behind closed doors, including a secret trial in 2021.
The fact that Yang Hengjun is likely to spend the rest of his life in an atrocious Chinese jail shows that Canberra has very little leverage and Beijing will do whatever it likes.
Dr Yang's family say the 57-year-old has been subjected to torture and more than 300 interrogations, which has taken a heavy toll on his health. It's believed his sentence could be reduced to life in prison after 2 years, pending good behaviour.
What does this do for the diplomatic relationship?
I have said stabilisation means we cooperate where we can, disagree where we must, and we engage in the national interest.
The Albanese government have put so much weight on having stabilised the relationship with Beijing that they will have to let this atrocious treatment of an Australian citizen slide. So they'll express concern, but apart from that, they'll do nothing, and Beijing knows that.
Badiucao is a Chinese dissident artist who fled China for Australia in 2009. Badiucao, were you surprised when you heard of China's decision today?
Well, it's absolutely shocking news to people like me, and I think to all the Chinese Australian citizens here. We know that Dr. Yang's situation was bad. We know that the Chinese government is trying to pin him down. But the problem is, for this sentence, it is really shocking that he will be sentenced something like close to a death sentence. That is a very worrying signal being sending to us.
Badiucao, let's cut to the chase. What do you make of the Australian government's response today? They haven't booted out the Chinese ambassador, just said, come and talk to us. Is it strong enough?
It is definitely not a strong gesture. It is not strong enough to change the situation. I think it's actually sending the Chinese government that they can do whatever they want to the Australian citizen. And in this case, Yang Hengjun's life is on the line, as well as all of us.
So what would you have the government do?
I think it's at the very basic point that they should stopping or the kind of honeymoon relationship with China. They should really suspending this invitation for Xi Jinping's visit to Australia in a way that I don't think Australia as a society could afford this price, that its citizens' life is on the line, and in the same time inviting a persecutor who would harm this life to Australia as a gift.
But that would be a kind of disengagement. Don't you think disengagement's less likely to free Dr Yang?
Well, we've seen what the Australian government has done to dissidents, and too far, to particularly Yang Hengjun's case, the downplay movement doesn't really bring him to any good condition. Like, he's sentenced to this death sentence even with 2 years suspending, but also we know his health situation is progressed very, very badly. This is an urgent issue. In this very particular moment, the Australian government should do something different, should do something more strong to sending the Chinese government that we are not swallowing this, we're not leaving our citizens outside of our protection.
So this is obviously a very serious sentence for Dr Yang, a suspended death sentence. We're not entirely sure exactly what the charges are, other than he's been accused of being a spy. He was, however, a very vocal dissident. So is his case, what's happened to him, worrying in any way just for other Australians who might be visiting China at some point?
Well, definitely. The Chinese government is sending a message, a chilling message, to all the Chinese diasporas around the world, particularly for Chinese Australians, that do not criticize the Chinese government, do not behave the way they don't like. Regardless you are Australian citizen or what, they will persecute you. This is the message the Chinese government is sending.
Badiucao, thanks so much for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you.